If your child is doing GCSE Spanish and you're trying to figure out the best way to help them revise, you're definitely not alone. Most students end up stuck doing endless vocab lists, last-minute cramming, and feeling like they're working hard but not actually improving their grades. But here's the truth. The students who do best in GCSE Spanish don't just revise more, they revise smarter. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through a simple, realistic GCSE Spanish revision plan that actually works, and how immersion experiences can fast-track speaking confidence before the exams. ¿Listo? Vamos! All right, well, let's start with what usually goes wrong. So most GCSE Spanish revision looks like this. Vocab lists, grammar worksheets, maybe a bit of reading practice the night before a test, and a lot of stress when speaking comes up. The problem is that this is very passive learning. Students recognise words on a page, but they struggle to actually use them when they're speaking or they're writing under pressure. And that's where marks get lost, because GCSE Spanish isn't just about what you know. It's about how well you can use what you know in real life. So, what does a good GCSE Spanish revision plan actually look like? Well, the key is consistency and balance across all 4 skills. So the listening, the speaking, the reading, and the writing, not just vocab. And here's a simple weekly structure that actually works. So on a Monday, vocab and grammar. Keep it focused, not hours, maybe just 20 to 30 minutes of active practice. On a Tuesday, focus on listening and use exam-style audio or even Spanish YouTube content. On a Wednesday, we're going to focus on speaking, and this is the big, most important one that students usually avoid. So answer GCSE-style questions aloud. Record yourself if needed. And on Thursdays, we'll focus on reading. So we're looking at short text, past papers, and articles. On Fridays, we're going to focus on writing. So we're looking at practice, structured answers, not just sentences, but full paragraphs. And over the weekend, we can practice papers or review. Some light revision, not panic revision. And the key idea here is this: little and often beats last-minute cramming every single time. Now let's talk about speaking, because this is where most students struggle the most. Even confident students can freeze in the speaking exam. Why? Well, it's because they haven't trained their brain to think in Spanish under pressure. So they've learned the language, but they've not learned how to use it enough. So here's what helps. Practice speaking daily. So even for 2 to 3 minutes, record your answers to the GCSE questions, practice with someone else if possible, and don't aim for perfection. Aim for communication. And this is where things really start to change, because once students realise that they can speak Spanish, everything else improves too. And if I could recommend just one thing to boost GCSE Spanish confidence quickly, it would be immersion. And that could be a Spanish language camp, a residential trip, an immersion experience or workshop, because nothing compares to being surrounded by real Spanish. Students stop translating in their heads and they start reacting more naturally. And yes, they make mistakes, obviously, but that's exactly the point. I've seen students go from being really nervous, hesitant speakers to confidently ordering food, asking questions, and actually enjoying speaking Spanish in just a few days. And that kind of confidence is hard to build in a classroom alone. And it's one of the core ideas behind the Adventures in Spanish framework, learning through experience, not just revision sheets. So, to summarise, a strong GCSE Spanish revision plan is not about doing more work. It's about doing the right kind of practice. Balanced skills, regular speaking practice, real exam-style questions, and real-world exposure where possible. And if your child can combine structured revision with immersion experiences, well, that's where the confidence really starts to grow. Because Spanish isn't just something to revise, it's something to use. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.